Hey everybody, got another build here for you. This is the cigar box tail tuner cigar, the tail tuner cigar box guitar. This is it's a cigar box guitar, and it's a tail tuner. It's a 4-string, and it's got a real single coil in it. It's got a floating bridge and a 0 nut and a string through up on this end with the peg hole for hanging it up. And wish this thing would focus. Oh, there we go. You can sort of see what the frets look like on it. They actually, I found an even better way to round things. Use a fret in dressing file with the flat side down and use that to round the base of the end, and then use your regular concave crowning file this way in order to round the rest of the fret end, and then just roll it all with like 60 grit or whatever. And I got excellent results with this neck. This is it's red oak. It's Fender scale length, full size, 25.5-inch scale length. It's 24 fret, and let's see, it's 4-string. I've got it basically tuned up as like the bottom 4 strings on a regular guitar. The string spacing on it is originally I was going to go for 8mm string spacing, but I decided that I wanted to get the strings a little further away from the edges, so I went with 7mm string spacing and then 4mm from the edge to the outer strings. Typically it's 3mm to the edge, or 2mm, something like that, and 8mm string spacing on a 6-string, something in that range. So this is a little narrower. It's still playable though, and this has a little bit more room at the shoulders. Next time around, I just make the neck a couple mil wider and go with 8mm spacing and give it 4mm at the shoulders, just to give it a little extra room. I mean, it's a narrow neck to begin with, so I wanted to make sure things wouldn't get into these rounded fret ends. So yeah, it's a Fender scale length, and electronics are very basic. This is already a pre-wired thing for a kit, cigar box kit thing. So it was a pickup that was already wired to a jack. The jack's back here, yeah. And all I did was I added a ground wire underneath the screw for that tuner there, and it just runs through this hole here underneath the lid, and it's wired up to the ground on the ground terminal on the jack, and that's the whole thing. And then see, that grounds this tuner, which grounds this number 2 string, which is actually your number 4 string on a real guitar. And then that comes down, and that grounds out the 0 fret, which in turn grounds out all the rest of the strings and all the rest of the tuners. So yeah, it takes a long path, but it gets full grounding that way, which is very cool. And let's see, acoustically, it's not loud at all, because these Monte Cristo boxes underneath the paper, they're actually that brown fiberboard pressboard stuff, and so yeah, it's a terrible material for making acoustic guitar bodies. Basically, it's not nearly as loud or resonant as the other cigar box guitar I built, which is made with a real wood box, a Patron box, I think it is. So that didn't work out so great. As far as like the structure of the guitar itself, it has a full float. It's you know, I made it right. It wasn't until right at the end that I realized it was just made out of fiberboard once I started drilling it and stuff. And then when I actually got it all hooked up and tried it acoustically, I was like, oh wow, that sucks. So yeah, live and learn. Lesson learned: don't use fiberboard cigar boxes for your cigar box guitar builds. Now, structurally, the way the thing works inside, I don't really feel like taking the strings off to open it up. The lid is held on with just one screw. The neck is notch relief, so the top is full floating. The neck is glued to the sides and bottom of the notch in the sides of the box, so it's only attached to the sides of the box, not to the lid, not to the bottom. And inside, basically the way it looks is, if this is your box, like this, then the neck goes kind of like this. It's got the notch, so it doesn't touch the lid. And it comes all the way down like this. Kind of like your basic cigar box. But then I was like, okay, I'm going to be putting the bridge like right in the middle of the guitar. So that's my saddle line. And so my pickup's going to go here. And then I want my pickup to be, you know, at the appropriate height, which is going to be right about the height of the box, the lid of the box. So that meant I would have to notch this. So I was like, well, since that's going to get a notch in it of some sort, of some depth, then I better put a reinforcing bar in. So what I did is I made a second bar that goes like this. And then it turned out that this notch actually had to go all the way down to the second bar. So I ended up cutting the one-piece neck into two pieces, but not until I had already glued this bar on, so nothing moved or anything like that, and everything was perfectly aligned. So, and then the pickup is solid mounted in here, kind of a thing, and it just is flush with the lid. And that's the way it works internally as far as like the structure of the guitar goes. And then you see it's not touching up here, and it's not touching down here, and it's only attached right in this region and right in this region. And if it were not made of fiberboard, it would probably sound a whole lot better acoustically than it does. When it's plugged in, it sounds fine, but because of the fiberboard, it's just really not that impressive acoustically. It's kind of dead sounding, which is disappointing, but so, you know, technically it doesn't even really need the box, since it's not really that nice acoustically. You can just build a cigar box stick electric guitar sort of a thing, but anyway, so let's see. Yeah, it's got, you know, all the normal bells and whistles. I've got locking tuners on it. What's going on here is I forgot to do something about the thickness of the neck for the height of the tuners. And so at first I tried drilling it so they'd be kind of like recessed, almost like a PRS knob on a guitar, recessed down into the headstock. But that didn't really work out. I tried doing it freehand with the drill, and I kind of messed things up. So I ended up having to make this like cover plate with the proper size hole so that the tuners would have something to bolt onto. And that's why it's got this piece of pickguard material here on the tailstock. But then again, I mean, it's like the black and gold. It looks kind of nice. So the black and gold and the red oak. The finish is that deft clear lacquer, I guess it is, high gloss. And I sprayed it on the box too. It was interesting because when I was working on it, I had the box on the desk and the speakers were like 6 feet away pointing towards the box and the desk. And I was listening to some music, and before I sprayed the box with lacquer, it was resonant in like the lower mids, like the bottom end of a guitar, because that was the kind of music I was listening to, some amplified acoustic guitar kind of stuff, and some of the lower notes in the range that they were playing the whole box would just vibrate with the notes. It was pretty cool actually, and it made me think that you could, like, you know, have some kind of tone generator or something, or just use a guitar and an amp and stick your cigar box or whatever, your acoustic guitar body or whatever you're doing like that, in front of the amp, and then just start playing notes in order to see what frequencies it responded well to and which ones it didn't. But after I squirted it with lacquer, I found that it changed the frequency that it responded to. It no longer responded to lower mids at all. It responded to more like 100 hertz, like a kick drum was the stuff that would make it vibrate. So maybe there is something to finishes changing the response of guitars. It makes sense for an acoustic, because an acoustic's supposed to be a speaker cone essentially. And yeah, if you put gobs of junk on a speaker cone, it's not gonna work as well. So there you go. But you know, I'm like, the whole challenge of building quality acoustic guitars, getting wood to work as a good speaker box, is just, I don't know, man. It's, you know, I can see the point, but it's way more work than I want to get involved with. You know, even with cigar boxes, because the first thing I'd be doing is first I'd be looking for cigar boxes with nice wood, and then I'd be like, so thinner boxes are also probably going to work better, and before you know, I'm building my own boxes, and then before you know it, I'm like Ken Parker building my own arch tops, and I don't want to go there and spend the rest of my life, you know, carving the front for a guitar. So, but yeah, I'm at this point, I'm like, actually, I'm running out of stuff to build. I've built just about everything I got all the parts for. I've got all the parts in order to do a dobro, and I think that's about it. So I gotta, like, you know, pick and choose from the list of ideas and see what's worthy of throwing some money at some parts for it. So it could be a little while before the next build. But until the next one, everybody, have a good one.